Kethan? We were just talking about you, dude. I was literally just thinking about you. What are the odds? It's like we're in some kind of visual novel or something. If you're such a huge fan, doesn't that mean I deserve some special treatment? Maybe a smile? Okay, now I'm gonna kick you in the knees. You don't tell me to smile. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir David, and today I'd like to play the demo for the game Backstage Infatuation. Oh, it'd probably help if I actually start the game instead of jamming to the title screen. I really shouldn't have stayed up last night binge watching that new drama everyone was talking about on social media. Well, you can't help that. The plot was crappy, and it was only popular because of the famous actors in it, but I couldn't help getting invested. To the point, I finished watching all of the episodes. I didn't need sleep. In one night. Yeah, who needs sleep? I don't need sleep. I need sleep. Yeah, that was 100% my fault. I began to quicken my pace. Hopefully I can make it in time. I dashed through the sidewalk, looking at my surroundings. Some businesses were already open. Anxiety gnawed at me as I realized I wouldn't be able to clock into work in time. Curse that darn series. I'm never watching bad telenovelas again. I ran with all of the force in my body, praying to God that I could make it in time. Because I don't want to be late for the third time this week. Sir and/or madam, listen. The show was lit. As if the stars aligned in my favor, there was the unmistakable Parisian exterior, exuding that same elegance I'm familiar with. I'm almost there at the café. I quickened my pace so I could reach the front door faster. Finally, my hand reached to pull the handle, and the cold breeze of the AC hit my whole body. I was out of breath, my heart still pounding from the run, so I stopped for a second to catch my breath. I finally made it. Before I could celebrate my small victory, a voice rang out which startled me. There you are. I've taken care of some prep work, so there's nothing for you to worry about. I lifted my head to see Minji, my boss. Thank you, boss. She's been here the longest and is also the oldest in the crew. It's always nice whenever she's on board. Everyone digs her gentle and attentive nature back when I was new on the job. She made my life way easier by teaching me the ropes and being super chill about it. She's a total sweetheart. She definitely acts like the mom of the group, always looking out for others and making sure we're all taken care of. But sometimes her constant worrying and fussing can be a bit much. It's clear she means well, though. She's just genuinely concerned for all of us. Embarrassed by my current position, I immediately stood straight and fixed a couple of wrinkles on my coat. Hey now, no need to get all flustered. She let out a small chuckle, the sound light and assuring. I'm just happy you made it to work safely. Get yourself ready. Customers will start coming in any minute. I couldn't help but let out a smile. It felt good to know someone cared about me, even if it isn't family. It was a small, unexpected kindness, and it made the rough start to my day feel a little better. Minji, will I tell you about this show? Years ago, I moved here alone to start an independent life. My parents insisted that I stay at home until I get married, since we're doing financially well and they're fine with still supporting me. I mean, we are from a wealthy family. An MC who's actually well off, kind of? But, dang it, there's always a but. I just feel guilty relying more on them so much, especially when it came to money. Sure, people wish they were born rich, imagining life would just be about buying all the best stuff money can get, but for me, I'd rather spend less and not put that burden on my parents, even if we do have money. Growing up, everything was handed to me on a silver platter, but deep down, I've always felt that it just felt better when I work for things myself. It just felt right. I get to achieve things through my hard work, not just instant handouts because of my parents' influence and money. Do I regret this decision? No. It's what I already set my heart in, and I'm content. It did take some time to convince my parents, but in the end, we found a compromise. I'll handle my groceries and other expenses while they cover my bills and even my apartment. They even wanted to buy me a whole house, but I refused. I didn't want to hassle them too much, but they did get me a really nice apartment, and honestly, that's enough for me. I can see the city lights at night, and it's gorgeous. I could totally... Hello? Is everything all right? You're spacing out. Ah! I didn't realize I was spacing out. Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just lore dumping and dropping my backstory that isn't sad for once. Yeah, I'm fine. Anyways, thanks for handling the prep work. I appreciate it, I said wholeheartedly. Of course. Go dress yourself up in the staff room. Nodding my head, I went to the staff room. When I reached the door, I knocked a few times, just to make sure I wouldn't walk in on anyone. Nothing. No response. I took it as a sign to enter, and I was right. It was empty. It better be. Stepping inside, I closed the door firmly behind me to change in peace before heading straight to my locker. But the moment I tried to open it, something felt off. I could easily open it when it's usually not, but it's supposed to be locked. Seriously? Is my locker jammed again? I just had it fixed 2 days ago. I let out a deep sigh, frustrated. I'll have to tell Minji to call someone to repair it. Again. They really need to check all of these locks. Not wanting to waste time, I retrieved my apron and the rest of my uniform essentials from my backup stash. Is this a slight inconvenience or shenanigans? After changing, I stood in front of the mirror and tidied up my hair, carefully smoothing any loose strands. Looking neat was important. It gave customers a good impression. And Minji always says the same thing. I was just about ready to leave when a thought hit me. My name tag. Turning back to the backup stash, I grabbed it quickly and clipped it on. My name is Espoir. It means hope in French. I took a sigh of relief, and before heading straight out, I clocked in. I came back to find Minji holding a bag of coffee beans, struggling a bit with the weight. I hurried over to help her. Thank you. A grateful smile plastered on her face. She is so pretty. Gosh darn, she's so pretty. She carefully poured the beans into the dispenser, measuring the perfect amount before closing the lid. I helped her lift the bag again, setting it aside. I stepped back to give her some space as she adjusted her appearance. I needed to bring up the locker issue, but my hesitation must have been obvious. Minji noticed and tilted her head slightly, placing a hand on her hip. Something on your mind? Just say it. She encouraged, her tone soft and reassuring. Minji, my locker's broken again. All right, here it goes. Well, my locker, it's the lock. Again. Again? Her eyes widened in shock. Yeah. She blinked a few times, clearly at a loss for words, before letting out a deep sigh. I'm starting to believe your locker is cursed. She teased with a small laugh, lightening the mood. I couldn't help but chuckle along with her. After a moment of thought, her eyes lit up and an idea struck her. How about this? There's an unused locker you can switch to. If your current one keeps breaking locks, it's best to probably relocate. But is haunted lockers a thing? Her practical suggestion made sense, and her calm demeanor made me feel less embarrassed about the whole situation. Honestly, that's not a bad idea. The new locker means new equipment and fewer changes of my lock breaking again. Really? Thank you so much. I'll probably start after a shift, or if I have free time to relocate. That's completely fine by me. Hopefully that'll do it. I'll get that locker checked for sure. Make sure it's not haunted. The gentle chime of the front doorbell echoed throughout the cafe. Oh, customers are coming in, so we need to go. Sam will be here during the night shift this Saturday, but don't worry, I'll help you. Sam? My curiosity piqued. Oh, does she have morning and afternoon classes today? Minji nodded, confirming my guess. Wow. Respect. Juggling classes and a part-time job at a cafe? Impressive. Yes, she texted me earlier this morning to say she'll be here for the night shift instead. Looks like I'll have to wait until tonight to see her. The sunny morning had given way to a dark and starlit sky. This morning had been surprisingly pleasant. No noisy customers, smooth traffic. Everything was going just right. The front bell chimed again, and in walked a familiar figure, petite, bundled up in her coat, her presence lightening up the room. It was Sam. Hi, Sam. She adjusted her coat before glancing around, and when her eyes landed on me, I raised a small hand in greeting. A smile tugged at her lips as she quickly made her way over. Espoir! Do I have news for you? Oh, let me get into my uniform and clock in real quick. Without waiting for a reply, she disappeared into the staff room. That's Sam, always full of energy and excitement. She's a part-timer here, juggling shifts with her college classes as she works towards her English degree. But beyond work, there's one thing that truly brings us together. Looks. Or Lukes, I think so. Lukes is the boy group right now, a multinational trio under Aurora Rising Records. They debuted on February 16th, dropping a full album that catapulted them into global stardom overnight. Their harmonies, charisma, and insane stage presence made them impossible to ignore. Sam and I, we're obsessed. 2 peas in a pod. We got stickers all of them all over our laptop. Whether it's music videos, interviews, or rare behind-the-scenes clips, we're always updating each other on the latest news about the group. As Sam emerged from the staff room in her uniform, her excitement was palpable. You're not going to believe what I found out today. And just like that, another night shift became a deep dive into our shared obsession. There were no customers at the moment, making it the perfect time for a chat. Sam and I leaned casually against one of the counters. So, hit me up. Spill that tea, I said with a smirk. She hummed thoughtfully before breaking into a mischievous grin. Gladly. After clearing her throat dramatically, she leaned in, her voice dropping conspiratorially. Remember when they filmed Golden Rays? Especially that one scene on the beach where Min is sitting alone? I nodded. That was one of Luke's most iconic moments, but what stuck with me was the behind-the-scenes chaos. The story of the woman who'd pretended to be staff to get close to the members. Uh-huh, I remember. What happened this time? Sam's eyes lit up. Well, turns out she's still at it. The same woman showed up during their shoot last week for that new campaign. This time, she had a fake pass and everything, like full-on laminated and all. That's bad dedication. Don't do that. I blinked. You're kidding. Wish I was. She tried sneaking in again, but security caught her before she even got close. They probably have wanted signs all over the backstage. Apparently, she started screaming about how Min belongs to her. I cringed. These types. Why are they always so extra? But get this, she didn't stop there. When they kicked her out, she camped outside the set with a giant sign that said, Minoru, I'm your destiny. I couldn't help but snort. Wow, that's dedication in the worst way possible. Exactly. Poor Min looks so done with life after someone told him about it. Like, this guy just wants to work and vibe, and here she is acting like a wannabe K-drama villain. I shook my head, my amusement fading into concern. I mean, this is funny in hindsight, but it's also scary. These people are getting way too bold. I know, right? It's not just annoying, it's dangerous. What if she'd gotten close to him, or worse, hurt him? I crossed my arms. It's wild. They have all this security, but I can't help worrying about how much they have to deal with. No one should have to feel unsafe at their job. Yeah, like this nice cafe job that we have right here, right now. Sam nodded in agreement. It's a known fact that these so-called fans are crazy rich, bribing staff members, slipping into events. It's almost like a game to them. Is that real? Is that a real thing? Is that a thing that happens? I frowned, feeling a mix of frustration and disgust. The fact that money can make it so easy for them to pull stunts like this is sickening. It's not just about being obnoxious anymore, it's straight up endangering the idol's safety. And some staff, they're not exactly angels either. I mean, I get it, low pay, long hours, but taking bribes from these people? It's not just unprofessional, it's dangerous. I crossed my arms, the thought making my stomach turn. Yeah, it's not like these fans are subtle about it. Flash a little cash and suddenly they're backstage or near the members' dressing rooms. How does that even happen? It happens because no one's willing to enforce boundaries properly. Sometimes I wonder if these companies are too focused on profits to care. Like, yeah, they invest in security, but it feels reactive, not proactive. I sighed. The idols are the ones who have to suffer from it. Imagine constantly having to look over your shoulder, or not knowing if the person handing you water is actually supposed to be there. Right? It's heartbreaking, and it's not just physical safety, it's mental too. How do you stay sane when people treat you like a commodity instead of a human being? Her voice softened as she added, I've seen fan cams where the members are smiling on stage, but their eyes look tired, you know? Like this constant pressure is eating away at them. I nodded, my mind flashing to Min, the quiet strength of the group. I feel like Min especially would hate this kind of thing. He seems like someone who values his personal space. Stuff like this would mess with anyone. Exactly! It's so unfair, and it's not just him. All three of them probably deal with it in their own way, but they shouldn't have to. Fans like this ruin it for everyone else. I don't even know this band and I feel sorry for him. The weight of her words settled over us, and I found myself clenching my fists. I just hope management starts taking this stuff more seriously. No amount of money is worth their safety. Tell me about it, but they, unfortunately, live off of this. These stunts give them cash if they feed off the delusional fans. I nodded, my mind drifting to looks as a whole. Yeah, it's scary to think about. They're just people trying to do what they love, but some fans forget that. I hope their management steps up and keeps them safe. Me too. I don't care how many layers of security they need. Whatever it takes to protect them, I'm all for it. The conversation hung in the air, a heavy reminder of the darker side of fame. For all the joy Luke's brought to their fans, the price they paid for it often felt far too high. To lighten the mood up, Aurora Rising Records actually did a complete staff overhaul. They replaced the old team with new members and tightened their security. That was fast. Honestly, it's impressive how they managed to pull it off in such a short amount of time. Sam's face lit up in excitement. Exactly! Something similar happened in the past, and they did a staff overhaul then, too. The CEO is always extra careful when it comes to Luke's safety. Well, that's good. I raised an eyebrow. Oh? Why's that? Well, for starters, he's super protective of them. It's not just about their careers, it's personal. There's this rumor that he sees them as more than just artists under his label, like he genuinely cares about their well-being. Oh, you mean like a CEO probably should? I nodded, thoughtfully. That's rare in this industry. Usually it's all about profits. Where it is, when Lux debuted, he made it clear that their safety and happiness were top priorities. That's why he doesn't hesitate to make big decisions, like replacing staff or beefing up security, if there's even the slightest hint of trouble. Honestly, good for him. These guys deserve to feel safe when they're doing what they love. Exactly. It's one of the reasons Lux has stayed so strong. They know that they have someone in their corner who's got their backs, no matter what. I wonder if that's suspicious at all. But enough of that. Let's move on to the other members. Have you seen Oriel's cat? Her voice echoed across the cafe, causing me to jump. Sam, shush! I hissed, glancing around nervously. Realizing her volume, she covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes darting to the empty tables. Luckily, there were no customers around to hear her outburst. She let out a sheepish laugh, tucking her hands into her pockets. Sorry, I just couldn't contain my excitement. I rolled my eyes, but I couldn't help smirking. You know how I get when it comes to Oriel. He's my bias. Oh, right. Sam's bias in looks is Oriel, the leader of the group. Honestly, I could see why she's so head over heels for him. Okay, I'll bite. Why Oriel, though? Sam's face lit up like a kid in a candy store. Where do I even start? First off, have you seen him? He's like the perfect mix of handsome and approachable, but it's not just about his looks. He's got this presence, you know? Like, when he's on stage, you can't take your eyes off of him. I nodded, knowing exactly what she meant. Yeah, I've noticed. He's got that charisma that makes everything he does look effortless. Exactly, and don't even get me started on his personality. He's so down-to-earth and funny and just real. He's the kind of guy who can make you laugh until your sides hurt, and then turn around and give you the most heartfelt speech that makes you cry. She paused for a breath, her excitement bubbling over.
And he cares so much for the other members. Have you seen how he looks out for them? Like when Min was sick during that fan meet, Oriel literally rearranged the entire schedule so Minoru could rest. Who does that?
Her voice softened as she continued.
It's not just his leadership skills, though. He's so insanely talented. He can sing, write, dance, compose, and his songs always hit the top of the charts. He's won so many awards, it's ridiculous.
I chuckled. Wow, she really likes him, huh? He's the total package, then.
He really is, but what I love most about him is how he stays humble through it all. Even after everything looks as accomplished, he always gives credit to his members, the staff, and the fans. He's just inspiring.
Her eyes sparkled with admiration, and I couldn't help but smile. All right, I get it. Oriel's the best.
You're darn right he is.
She giggled, pausing mid-laugh as her eyes lit up with curiosity, sparkles practically dancing in her gaze. She leaned in closer, the sudden proximity making me flinch slightly.
Hey, I just realized. I never knew your bias before. That's not fair when you already know mine.
I blinked, caught off guard. Oh, yeah, she's got a point. Despite only knowing each other for 2 weeks, most of our conversations had been all about her interests and excitement. I hadn't shared much about myself at all. My cheeks warmed, a blush creeping in as I realized how one-sided things have been. How silly of me. Should I tell her? I'm super embarrassed, honestly. He's kind of overrated. What if she judges me? Let's spill them beans! Well, you already know there's 3 of them, I stammered, trying to buy some time.
Uh-huh,
she replied, her gaze narrowing in deep focus, clearly hanging on to every word of my response. I felt my palms grow a little sweaty under her intense scrutiny. I mean, Oriel is cool, the same with Min, but... Before I could finish, her hand shot out, covering my mouth as she gasped dramatically.
Don't tell me Kier is your bias.
Her voice was half accusatory, half excited, like she just uncovered a scandalous secret. My muffled protest behind her hand made her grin wider. She leaned back slightly, removing her hand with a knowing look.
I knew it! You've got that look about you. Totally a Kier fan, am I right? Huh?
Ma'am, how dare you? I sighed, defeated, as she wiggled her eyebrows playfully. Okay, fine, yes, it's Kier. Happy now?
Ha! I knew it! I can spot a Kier stand from a mile away. Now it's my turn. What's the deal about Kier, The so-called cold-look moon prince?
Oh no. Her teasing tone made my cheeks flush even more. I tried to compose myself, but the way she leaned in expectantly didn't help. I started, fumbling for words.
He's,
I avoided her gaze, my fingers nervously fiddling with the hem of my apron. Well, first of all, he's... Kier. Like, have you seen him?
Uh-huh. The visual of the century, as the fans call him. But looks aren't everything, right? Or are they?
I shot her a small glare, but the heat in my face gave away my embarrassment. It's not just his looks. Sure, he's ridiculously good-looking, but there's so much more to him. Sam smirked knowingly.
Go on.
I sighed, feeling my heart race as I thought about him. Okay, so he's an insane vocalist. Even critics say so. The way he hits those notes, it's like he's pouring his entire soul into every song. There's this raw passion in his voice that just, I don't know, it gives me chills.
Ooh, someone's swooning.
Shut up! I muttered, hiding my face in my hands before continuing. It's not just his voice, though. He's got this deep passion for art and music. Did you know he's the one who designed the concept for their last album? He's so talented, it's unreal. It's like everything he touches turns into something beautiful.
So basically, he's perfect.
I hesitated, biting my lip as I mumbled. Well, he kinda is. At least, to me. Sam's eyes widened with mock surprise.
Oh my gosh, you're totally in love with him.
Shut up! Stop! Hey, at least he's real this time, Sam.
What?
I practically jumped, my face now fully red.
I'm not. It's not like that. I just admire him as a fan.
She bursts out laughing, and I groaned, burying my face in my hands again. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. There's something about his voice. It feels familiar, like I've heard it somewhere before. It's comforting, even when it's just through my headphones. Sam tilted her head, intrigued.
Huh, that's kinda deep. Do you think maybe it reminds you of something from your past?
I'm not sure, I admitted softly, twiddling my thumbs. But I can't deny he's basically a perfect match for my type. It's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. He's got the whole reserved, mysterious vibe, but you can tell there's so much more to him if you really look.
Aw, how cute. Kier's basically your dream guy, huh?
I let out a small, frustrated whine.
Stop teasing me.
Sam chuckled, holding up her hands in surrender.
All right, I'll stop. For now. But you better believe I'm not letting this go anytime soon.
You're gonna jump scare me with laminated glossy photos of Kier. I slumped onto the counter, utterly defeated, but unable to stop the small smile forming on my lips. Looks like you two are having fun.
Hey, boss! Ah!
Boss, I hope you didn't hear any of that right now. Sam and I shrieked in unison, whipping around to see Minji standing there with an amused look on her face. Minji, who do you stand? In her surprise, Sam stumbles backwards, smacking her hip against the corner of the counter before losing her balance. Sam! I yelped, reaching out, but Minji was faster. She caught Sam by the arm just in time, steadying her before she could hit the floor. Sam stood upright, rubbing the spot where she bumped herself.
Ow! Jeez, boss. You scared the life out of me.
Once the initial shock wore off, the three of us burst into laughter, the tension melting away.
You got us good, boss. Sorry if we're slacking off and being too loud.
She added sheepishly, scratching the back of her head. Minji waved her hand dismissively, her soft smile reassuring. It's fine. There are no customers yet anyway, but I actually came here to ask for some help. Sam and I exchanged curious glances before turning back to Minji, intrigued. What kind of help? Without answering, Minji gestured for us to follow her. We trailed after her as she led us through the café and into the storage room. The air grew colder as we stepped inside, surrounded by shelves stacked with boxes of supplies and ingredients. Minji stopped near a row of stacked crates and turned to us. We've got a delivery coming in soon, but before that, I need help organizing these. Some of the older inventory got mixed in with the new stock. Sam crossed her arms, surveying the disorganized boxes.
Oof, this is gonna take a while, isn't it?
Minji chuckled. Not if we work together. Besides, it's a slow evening, so now's the perfect time to get it done. Sam and I nodded in agreement, rolling up our sleeves. It looked like we'd be spending some quality time in the storage room. After finishing the last round of cleaning and organizing, the three of us stood by the door, each carrying a lingering sense of satisfaction from the day's work. Minji secured the lock with a soft click, signaling the official end of our shift. The quiet streets greeted us with a gentle breeze as we stepped outside, the glow of streetlights reflecting on the pavement. Sam stretched her arms over her head, letting out a content sigh, while I adjusted my bag over my shoulder. Minji gave us a small wave before heading in the opposite direction, her figure disappearing into the evening haze. Sam and I exchanged a tired but pleased look before we began walking down the familiar path home, the warmth of camaraderie still lingering even as the day came to a close. The more I walked, the stronger the feeling grew, like someone was watching me. It made my skin crawl. I spun around quickly, but there was no one. My grip tightened on my bag as that uneasy feeling clung to me, refusing to let go. Why does the music suddenly sound scary? It's a good thing I have my bracelet holder in my bag, my bracelet holder that's mysteriously shaped like a brick. Sweat started dripping down my forehead. I needed to get out of here. Fast. My footsteps picked up speed, each step louder than the last, as I focused on getting to my apartment complex as quickly as possible. My heart was pounding, and adrenaline surged through me as I took turn after turn, navigating the familiar streets. Finally, I spotted the building in the distance. Squinting, I could make out the security guard standing at the large glass doors. He must have noticed my panicked expression because, as I jogged closer, his posture straightened like he immediately understood something was off. As soon as I stepped into the tiled entryway, he opened the door without hesitation. I gave him a quick bow of thanks, still catching my breath. He gave me a brief nod, silently acknowledging me, then motioned me inside. Without wasting another second, I hurried to the elevator, my focus set on the safety of my apartment. I could hear him take out his walkie-talkie and mumble something, probably to other security guards nearby to be on high alert. The elevator door slid open with a soft chime, and I stepped in, jabbing the button for my floor. The moment the doors closed, I let out a shaky breath. My reflection in the polished steel walls showed the toll the night had taken. Messy hair, wide eyes, and a face glistening with sweat. I leaned against the cool metal wall, trying to calm my racing heart. What was that? Why did I feel like someone was following me? The uneasiness hadn't fully left, even now, as the elevator hummed softly on its way up. When the doors opened again, I hurried down the hallway to my apartment, fumbling for my keys. My hands were trembling, and it took a moment to fit the key into the lock. I glanced over my shoulder, half expecting to see someone standing there. But the hallway was empty and silent. Finally, the lock clicked, and I pushed the door open, stepping into the familiar warmth of my home. I shut the door behind me and locked it, double-checking that the bolt was secure. Only then did I let myself breathe, leaning against the door as my bag slid off my shoulder and hit the floor. The silence in my apartment was deafening. Normally it felt comforting, but tonight it made my skin crawl. I flipped on the lights, the sudden brightness chasing away the shadows, and looked to the window. Pulling the curtains aside, I scanned the street below, looking for something. Someone. Better not be no shenanigans outside my window. Nothing. Just the quiet streetlights and the occasional car passing by. Still, that feeling lingered, like an itch I couldn't scratch. I forced myself to move away from the window and headed to the kitchen. A glass of water, I decided, would help settle my nerves. After finishing my glass of water, I set it down on the counter, the quiet clink breaking the uneasy silence that had settled over the apartment. I rubbed my temples, trying to shake off the lingering tension from earlier, and made my way towards my bedroom. As I reached the doorway, something felt off. The heck? The door was slightly ajar, swinging open with just the faintest push of my hand. Was my locker slightly open? No, my bedroom door slightly open. Listen, whomever is trying to get my attention, you are going to meet the machete that I have behind my bedroom door. My stomach tightened. I never leave my bedroom door like that. Did I forget to close it this morning? I tried to rationalize it, the memory of rushing to get to work flashing through my mind. I had been running late, my bag half-packed as I dashed out the door. Maybe I just left it open in the chaos. But still, something didn't sit right. I stood there for a moment, staring into the shadowed room. The dim glow of the hallway light spilled in, casting faint streaks across the room. Everything looked normal. My bed was unmade, the laundry basket still overflowing in the corner, and the faint outline of my work desk sat against the far wall. Better not be no shenanigans. Check the closet. But that uneasy feeling crept back in, slithering up my spine. My eyes darted to the window. It was closed, the curtains drawn tight. My gaze flickered to the closet. The door was still shut, as it should be. Check it anyway. It's fine, I told myself. I'm just paranoid after what happened earlier. Still, I couldn't shake the sense that something was out of place, like the air in the room was heavier than usual. I hesitated before stepping inside, my hand brushing against the door frame as I flicked on the light. The soft glow illuminated the room, washing away the shadows. I took a deep breath and walked to my bed, tossing my bag on the mattress. As I sat down to unlace my shoes, I glanced around the room again, trying to spot anything unusual. Everything seemed fine, but that didn't explain why my door had been left open, or why it suddenly felt like I wasn't alone. Shaking off the strange feeling, I decided a hot shower might help clear my mind. I grabbed a towel from the closet and headed to the bathroom, flicking on the light. The soft hum of the exhaust fan filled the space as I turned on the water, letting it run until steam began to fog up the mirror. The warmth of the shower was a welcome relief, washing away the tension that had clung to me since my walk home. I closed my eyes, letting the water cascade over my shoulders, and took a deep breath. For the first time that evening, I started to feel like myself again. Once I finished, I wrapped myself in the towel and stepped out, wiping a hand across the fogged-up mirror. My reflection stared back at me, pale and tired, and at least I didn't look as frazzled as I had earlier. I made my way to my bedroom, the soft carpet squishing under my bare feet, and rummaged through my dresser for a pair of pajamas. Slipping into the familiar comfort of an oversized shirt and loose pants, I felt a bit more at ease. The tension in my shoulders eased as I moved to sit on the edge of my bed, running a hand through my damp hair. The routine of getting ready for the night felt grounding, like a reminder that everything was fine. I collapsed onto my bed, sinking onto the soft embrace of my coziest sheets. Wow, this detergent strongly smells of amber. I yawned. Amber smells great. The day's tension seemed to melt away as I nestled deeper into the warmth. My eyes grew heavier with each passing second. Ha-ha, no shenanigans occurred. The morning rush was already in full swing, the quiet of dawn replaced by the steady rhythm of the café. Sam stood behind me at the counter, her cheerful voice cutting through the low murmur of conversation as she greeted customers with her usual enthusiasm.
Good morning. Welcome to C-Mug. What can I get started for you?
She chimed, her bright smile infectious. I worked quickly beside her, pulling espresso shots and steaming milk, the comforting sounds of the coffee machines filling the air. The scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the warm, buttery aroma of pastries from the display case. Warm, buttery pastries. The line moved steadily, orders flying between us as we worked in sync. Sam passed me cups to fill while I slid completed orders across the counter with practiced ease. Americano and an almond croissant for takeout, I called out, glancing at Sam as she handed the customer their receipt with a cheerful smile. Thank you. Have a great day. Moments like these were chaotic, but oddly satisfying. The constant rhythm of taking orders, making drinks, and exchanging brief smiles and pleasantries felt like the heartbeat of the cafe, and it was a rhythm we knew well. This morning is going to be a busy one for sure. After what felt like hours of non-stop orders and clinking cups, the cafe finally settled into a peaceful lull. The bustling morning crowd had dwindled, leaving only a handful of customers scattered across the tables, quietly enjoying their coffee and pastries. The hum of conversation was low and soothing now, blending with the faint background music playing overhead. Sam and I found ourselves back at our usual spot behind the counter, leaning against it as we let out synchronized sighs of relief. She stretched her arms above her head, letting out a small groan before flashing me a grin.
Finally, a breather,
she muttered, brushing a few strands of hair out of her face. I nodded, my hands wrapped around a warm mug of coffee I'd quickly made for myself during the downtime. This was our favorite part of the day, the calm between the rushes, when we could relax and chat without interruption. Sam propped her elbows on the counter, her chin resting in her palms as she looked at the remaining customers. A couple near the window shared quiet laughter over their pastries, and an older man flipped through a newspaper with a half-empty cappuccino beside him.
You know,
Sam began, her voice a little softer now.
I always wondered what it would be like to be one of them, just sitting here, relaxing, instead of running around making drinks all day.
I chuckled, taking a sip of my coffee. You'd get bored in 5 minutes. You love the chaos too much." She tilted her head in mock offense, but her grin gave her away.
Okay, fair. But you have to admit, they make it look nice and easy.
I shrugged, letting my mug down. Maybe. But where's the fun and easy? You get more stories from behind the counter. Sam laughed at that, nodding in agreement.
True, true. Speaking of stories...
She leaned in closer, her voice dropping conspiratorially.
Guess who just messaged me last night?
I raised an eyebrow, intrigued, but already bracing myself for one of her dramatic reveals. Who? She smirked, glancing around like she was about to share the world's biggest secret.
A friend of a friend who met Luke's backstage yesterday.
My eyes widened. I leaned in as well. The mundane morning suddenly a lot more interesting. No way.
You're lying. Swear on my coffee addiction.
Holding up 3 fingers in a mock scout's pledge.
I got details you're gonna want to hear.
Sam's eyes sparkled with excitement as she dropped her voice even lower, making me lean in further to catch her words.
So, apparently,
she began, drawing out the suspense.
This friend of a friend was working security at an event where Luke's performed. Backstage, Kier was, let's just say, not as cold as everyone thinks he is.
My heart skipped a beat. Wait, what do you mean? She smirked knowingly, clearly enjoying how invested I was.
I mean, he wasn't the untouchable cold look moon prince. He was joking around with the crew and even helped them carry some equipment. Can you imagine Kier doing something so normal?
My favorite idol did something normal. Next thing you're gonna tell me is that he drank a generic, non-name brand soda. I blinked, trying to picture it. Kier, the elegant, ethereal visual of Luke's, hauling equipment? It was almost too surreal to believe.
That's not all.
Sam continued, her tone growing even more conspiratorial. I wonder what it would be like to experience that. Especially what Sam just talked about, joking around, seeing his smile, and most importantly, hearing his laughter.
Oh, you're totally smitten,
she teased, her grin widening.
You've got that dreamy look on your face right now. Don't even try to deny it.
I shook my head, trying to play it off. I'm not smitten. I just think it's nice. That's all.
Sure.
Dragging out the words in a tone dripping with sarcasm.
You're practically writing his fan club manifesto in your head.
I laughed, shoving her lightly.
Stop it, Sam. You're being ridiculous.
She smirked, leaning back. I'm a hard-working lady. I don't got time for cute boys.
Ridiculous or accurate? Because honestly, it's cute how you light up whenever someone mentions Kier. It's like a switch flips and suddenly you're all soft and glowy.
I felt the heat rising to my cheeks and quickly turned my attention to the customers, pretending to be busy. You're imagining things.
Keep telling yourself that.
Her tone smug, still not convinced.
But if you ever meet him, I'm going to remind you of this conversation.
The thought of actually meeting Kier sent a wave of nervous excitement through me, but I shook it off. Like that would ever happen. Sam just shrugged, a mischievous glint in her eye.
You never know. The world works in mysterious ways.
And despite myself, I couldn't help but hope she was right. Mysterious ways. Speaking of mysterious ways, I wonder how he's doing. It's been a while since I've last seen him. The last time we saw each other was in 10th grade. That was it.
Oh.
My playdate as a toddler and my only best friend in the world. Kethan Nimcats. Kethan? Kethan? Sam's voice faded into the background as my thoughts drifted. Kethan. The name brought with it a flood of memories, vivid and bittersweet. We'd been inseparable as kids, climbing trees, trading secrets, and planning out the grand futures we thought we'd have. Aww. Like him being a superhero named Magma Boy. Let's be honest, superheroes don't exist, but it was fun role-playing as heroes when we were kids. Aww. I could still picture his goofy grin, the way his dark hair always fell into his eyes, no matter how many times he tried to fix it. But life had its way of pulling people apart. He moved away in the middle of 10th grade, and after that we just lost touch. A few texts here and there, a half-hearted promise to visit, but nothing that stuck. The only way I got to know about his whereabouts was from his mother, whom I'm still very close to, and yet I couldn't help but wonder about him sometimes. Was he still the same? Had life been kind to him? Did he ever think about those days the way I did? Sam snapped her fingers in front of my face, breaking my reverie. I have a bad habit of zoning out.
Hello, Earth to Daydreamer. You totally zoned out. What's on your mind?
I blinked, shaking my head. Oh, don't worry about me, just dropping some lore. Nothing, just thinking about someone I used to know.
Ooh, do tell.
I hesitated, a small smile tugging at my lips. It's not a big deal, just this guy I used to be really close with, Kethan. We haven't talked in years, but he was my best friend growing up. Sam's eyes lit up with curiosity.
Your best friend, huh? Is this one of those childhood friends turned lover stories waiting to happen?
I rolled my eyes, laughing.
No, Sam. It's not like that. He was just important to me.
Like the kind of person who made everything better just by being there.
And you let him slip away? Tisk, tisk. That's tragic.
I shrugged, though the ache in my chest said otherwise. Life happens. People grow apart. Sam leaned back, a thoughtful look on her face.
You ever thought about reaching out? Maybe the universe isn't done with you two yet.
I glanced down at my phone, my thumb hovering over the screen. Reach out? After all this time? I mean, I still have his number, but he's in another country, probably asleep. The idea seemed both ridiculous and tempting, and I wasn't sure which feeling would win. I mean, it's a good idea, but he's in another country. Time zones and all, plus he's probably really busy. I don't want to be a bother. I responded to Sam's suggestion with a small shake of my head. She frowned slightly, but nodded, respecting my choice.
Aw, I get it. But seriously, you should think about it. I don't know him, but it's obvious he meant a lot to you.
Her smile was warm, and I couldn't help but smile back. Sam had a way of being encouraging without pushing too hard, always a sweetheart. Before I could say anything else, a deep voice interrupted. Excuse me. Sorry, but I'd like to order something if that's no trouble. We're working, sorry. Both of us jumped slightly, startled by the man standing nearby. He looked amused, clearly unsure if he should have spoken up or waited longer. I let out a nervous laugh, smoothing my apron as I quickly stepped forward.
Oh, welcome to Seamug. Sorry about that. What can I get for you?
Sam stayed back, watching me as I effortlessly shifted into my friendly professional demeanor. No worries. I'll take a latte. And maybe a welcome back hug from the barista? I froze, mid-step, my hand hovering over the register. For a moment, I thought it had to be a prank or a case of mistaken identity, but the playful tone in his voice tugged at something familiar. I let out a small chuckle, trying to play it cool. Did this dude really say where my hug at?
Sir, I think you've got the wrong person.
Then I looked up, and my breath hitched.
Oh, is that my friend? Is that my little friend?
Did you become a superhero like we promised? Standing in front of me, with the same mischievous grin that I hadn't seen in years, was him. So, no welcome back hug included? My jaw dropped.
Kethan? We were just talking about you, dude. I was literally just thinking about you.
What are the odds? It's like we're in some kind of visual novel or something. My voice was so loud, which startled not only him, but everyone in the café. I gave out an embarrassed smile and apologized to everyone. His grin widened as he leaned casually on the counter. The one and only. Surprised to see me? kinda.
I couldn't believe my eyes. After all this time, there he was, standing right in front of me like no time had passed at all.
What, you're back?
My words came out as a stammered mess. Kethan's golden eyes looked away from mine, a blush forming on his cheeks.
Sorry, I got excited and wanted to beat my mom at telling you the news first, then surprise you at work. But hey, why do you look like you're not happy to see me?
He pulled a fake frown, one he'd perfected even as a kid. Now that I thought about it, he looked so different. His outfit was more casual, relaxed, like he was finally comfortable in his own skin. His midnight blue hair was fluffier than I remembered, and most striking of all, his height and overall build. What on earth had they been feeding him in the States, and had he started working out? Kethan must have noticed me staring because he raised an eyebrow, his grin widening. Kethan leaned against the counter with that familiar smirk.
I bet you're thinking I look really handsome right now, eh? Eh?
I couldn't help but laugh. In your dreams, Kethan. His grin widened, but I softened my tone. Come on, let's take this somewhere else. I need to let my coworker and boss know first, okay? Kethan blinked, his eyes widening as if he'd just realized we were still standing in the middle of my workplace. He rubbed the back of his neck, letting out a sheepish grin.
Oh, right. I forgot we were still here. My bad. I'll wait for you outside, yeah?
Of course, I replied with a small smile. Oh, I'll even get started with your order. His eyes lit up, practically sparkling.
Is the welcome
No. He let out a dramatic whine, but the grin never left his face.
Oh, I was just joking.
Tease him? Don't tease him. Sir, you getting teased. I shook my head, trying to stifle a laugh of my own. Maybe I should tease him back, turn the tables on this confident, cheeky guy. Oh, that was a joke? Darn, that no was actually a lie, and I really intended on hugging you. The look on his face was priceless. His cheeks reddened as he leaned in closer.
Wait, I actually take that back.
I couldn't help but laugh at his flustered reaction, the sudden shift in his confidence making the moment all the more amusing. You can't take it back now, I teased, leaning in slightly myself. I mean, you were so sure of yourself a second ago. His hands flew up in mock surrender, his cheeks still tinged with pink.
All right, truce. You win this round.
I leaned back, crossing my arms with a satisfied smirk. Truce? Already? I thought you'd put up more of a fight.
Come on, we gotta keep this prank train going.
He rubbed the back of his neck, the redness in his cheeks deepening as he avoided my gaze.
Hey, even I have my limits, all right? You caught me off guard.
I raised an eyebrow, pretending to ponder. Caught you off guard? The confident, unshakable Kethan? I think I deserve a trophy for that. He finally met my eyes, his lips curling into a sheepish grin.
All right, fine. I'll admit it. You got me. But don't get used to it. I'll be ready next time.
I chuckled, shaking my head. We'll see about that. For a moment, the teasing stopped, and a comfortable silence settled between us. His grin softened, and there was a glimmer of something warmer in his gaze.
Even after all these years, you're pretty fun to talk to, you know that?
His tone quieter, more genuine. I blinked, caught off guard by the sudden shift. Thanks. You're not so bad yourself. The moment lingered, and I felt my cheeks start to heat up. Before things could get too awkward, I cleared my throat. Anyways, I'll take care of your order. Can you find a spot for us to sit? I need to inform my boss first.
Oh, sure. The amazing Kethan will handle that.
I snorted and giggled. This doofus. Never change, Kethan. Never change. Oh. The late afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the outdoor seating area, painting everything in warm hues. I leaned back in my chair, sipping on my coffee, as I studied the familiar face across from me. Kethan had barely changed. Same confident smirk, same easygoing demeanor. But there was something softer in his expression now, like he was genuinely relieved to be sitting here with me.
Luckily, Minji agreed to let me take a break. I began, setting my cup down. So come on, spill. How have you been? When the heck did you come back from America? Kethan grinned, leaning forward on his elbows.
I've been busy. Came back about a month ago, actually. Didn't tell anyone at first. Wanted to get settled before reaching out.
I raised an eyebrow. You? Keeping quiet? That's new. He chuckled, scratching the back of his neck.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it. You know how it is.
I tilted my head, giving him a knowing look. Uh-huh. And how was college life? Did you get that degree, or should I be worried?
Hey, give me some credit.
He shot back, mock offended.
I did get it. Business management, just like I said I would. Even graduated with honors, thank you very much.
I blinked in surprise, a genuine smile spreading across my face. Wow, I'm impressed. Didn't think you'd actually survive all of those all-nighters you used to complain about.
Barely,
he admitted with a laugh.
But hey, I missed you so much I started doing things that reminded me of you. Like making your favorite snack when I was stressed, or listening to the playlist we used to share.
My chest tightened at his words, the weight of nostalgia settling over me. You really missed me that much, huh? He nodded, his expression softening.
Of course I did. You're not just an old friend, you're the friend. No one else gets me the way you do.
I looked away, feeling a blush creep up my cheeks. Well, you're back now. Guess we've got a lot of catching up to do. Kethan smiled, the warmth in his gaze unmistakable.
Yeah, we do. And I'm not going anywhere this time, so you better get used to having me around again.
I rested my chin in my hand, watching Kethan recount stories of his time abroad. His words came with the usual charm, but there was something different about him. A softer edge to his tone, a lingering gaze that I didn't quite register as anything other than familiarity. You know, I said, smirking as I leant back in my chair, I still can't believe you actually graduated with honors. What happened to the Kethan who used to convince me to procrastinate on assignments? Kethan chuckled, the sound low and genuine, and it made me feel oddly warm.
He grew up, I guess. But for the record, I still believe in strategic procrastination. I just had a little voice in my head reminding me to stay on track.
I raised an eyebrow. A little voice? Please don't tell me you're giving me credit for your success. His smile softened, and his eyes seemed to linger on mine a moment too long.
Who else would I give credit to? You've always been the one keeping me grounded, even from a distance. I think about what you'd say whenever I wanted to give up.
I blinked, caught off guard by the sudden tenderness in his voice. I laughed awkwardly, brushing it off. It's not like we're falling in love or anything. Wow, Kethan. Didn't know I was your motivational coach. Should have charged you for it. He laughed, but it wasn't the usual carefree sound. It was quieter, more wistful.
You were more than that, you know. You were like home to me. No matter how crazy things got, I always felt like I could be myself with you.
His words hung in the air, and I found myself fiddling with the rim of my coffee cup, unsure of how to respond. That's really sweet, Kethan. I didn't know you felt that way. He shrugged, looking away briefly, before turning his attention back to me.
Yeah, well, I guess being away for so long makes you realize what you're missing.
I chuckled, trying to lighten the mood. I hope you missed more than just my lectures on time management. His grin returned, though it didn't quite reach his eyes this time.
Oh, I missed plenty more than that. Your laugh, your random rants about books and movies, the way you always ordered the same drink but acted like it was a big decision.
Okay, I interrupted, feeling my cheeks flush under his steady gaze. You're starting to make me sound predictable. He shook his head, his voice dropping to a softer, almost reverent tone.
Not predictable, just you. And that's more than enough.
I laughed nervously, the weight of his words flying right over my head. All right, Mr. Sentimental, let's not get too sappy now. People might think you're turning into a softie. Kethan's lips quirked into a small smile, and his eyes held something deeper, something I couldn't quite place.
Maybe I already have.
I tilted my head, giving him a curious look. What was that?
Nothing.
His grin widening as he leaned back in his chair.
Just saying, it's nice to be back.
I smiled, the warmth of his presence settling over me like a favorite blanket. It's nice to have you back, Kethan. Really. For a moment, we just sat there, the world around us fading into the background. I couldn't help but laugh, the tension melting away as we fell into easy conversation. It felt like no time had passed at all, and yet there was a comforting sense of new beginnings in the air. To me, it was the easy comfort of an old friendship rekindled. We spent most of the afternoon catching up, sharing stories and laughing about the old days. The outdoor seating area was bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun when we started, but now it had transitioned into the cool stillness of night, with streetlights casting soft halos over the tables. The gentle hum of passing cars and the occasional chatter of late-night pedestrians filled the background. Kethan glanced at his phone, his eyes widening slightly.
Oh, shoot. I didn't mean to take up so much of your time, especially while you were working.
He looked away, rubbing the back of his neck with a hint of embarrassment. Hey. I waved off his concern with a grin. It's no biggie. Minji was totally cool with it. She's the one who said I could take some time to talk, so don't feel bad, okay? At my reassurance, Kethan perked back up, his sheepish smile returning.
Well, in that case, send my thanks to your boss. She's got my eternal gratitude. I'll even leave a big tip and make it official.
I laughed. Yeah, I'll let her know you're a man of your word. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. He leaned back in his chair briefly, stretching before he stood. The night air carried a faint chill, rustling through the nearby trees.
Anyways, I really need to head out. Mother Goose is waiting for me at home, and you know how she is. Total worrywart.
I nodded, knowingly. Still the same, huh? I can already hear her nagging in my head. Kethan, where are you? Do you even know what time it is? He laughed, shaking his head.
You're not far off. She's probably pacing by now. But honestly, I missed it. It's nice to be back with family, even if it comes with all the fretting and motherly guilt trips.
Yeah, I get that, I said, smiling softly. It's good to have people who care, even if they drive you a little crazy sometimes. Kethan gave me a look, his tone softening.
And it's good to have old friends who still put up with me, even after all this time.
I rolled my eyes, trying to brush off the statement before it got too sappy. Yeah, don't go getting all emotional on me now. He smirked, leaning down slightly to meet my gaze.
Too late. I'll save the waterworks for next time, though. Deal?
Deal, I said, laughing as I stood with him and walked towards the edge of the seating area. Before stepping onto the sidewalk, he turned back with a playful grin.
Don't forget, you owe me a proper catch-up next time. And maybe a hug if you're feeling generous.
I shook my head, smiling. We'll see about that. Now go home before your mom sends out a search party. He laughed, waving as he headed off into the night. The warmth of his presence lingered even after he was gone, blending with the cool night air and leaving me with a strange mix of nostalgia and something I couldn't quite place. As Kethan walked away from the outdoor seating area, I stayed behind for a moment, watching him weave through the dimly lit street towards his car. The soft glow of the streetlights reflected off the sleek surface of the vehicle as he unlocked it and slid into the driver's seat. The engine roared to life, a low, familiar sound that carried through the quiet evening. He didn't leave immediately, though. He paused, glancing in my direction through the windshield. For a brief second, our eyes met, and he gave a small wave, his smile illuminated by the faint glow of the dashboard. I returned the wave, standing there until the car began to roll forward, disappearing down the street with its taillights fading into the distance. A strange warmth lingered in my chest as I finally turned around, heading back towards the cafe's entrance. The night air was cool against my skin as I stepped inside, the transition from the calm of the outside world to the familiar coziness of the café grounding me. Closing the door behind me, I let out a soft sigh, still caught between the nostalgia of the day and the quiet anticipation of what tomorrow might bring. As I stepped back into the cafe, the familiar aroma of coffee and faint chatter greeted me. I hadn't taken 2 steps when Sam appeared out of nowhere, leaning casually against the counter with a sly grin on her face.
So?
She began, her tone light and teasing.
How was the grand reunion? Did sparks fly? Old flames rekindled? Don't leave me hanging.
I rolled my eyes, setting down the tray of empty cups I had brought back from the outdoor table. It wasn't like that, Sam. We just caught up, that's all. And looked at each other lovingly.
Uh-huh.
She crossed her arms, clearly unconvinced.
Just catching up, huh? You're out there for hours. That kind of catching up sounds more like romantic leads in a drama.
I gave her a flat look, but the corners of my lips betrayed a small smile. Don't start, Sam. But she wasn't done. Leaning in closer, her grin widened.
You know, now that I think about it, this is getting interesting. You've got Kier, your bias, the soulful, dreamy idol, and now Kethan, the childhood bestie with charm for days.
Yeah, but what are the odds that I'm going to meet Kier and Kethan's right here? That would never happen, Sam.
Which one's it gonna be?
My cheeks immediately burned, and I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Oh my God, Sam, stop!
Hey, I'm just saying.
She laughed, clearly enjoying how flustered I was.
I mean, imagine the drama. The idol versus the best friend? This could be a whole movie.
Yeah, one where I walk out and refuse to play the lead. I muttered, shaking my head. Sam finally relented, though she was still grinning ear to ear.
Fine, but you are going to tell me more about your little catch-up later, right?
I sighed, knowing she wasn't going to let it go. We'll see, Sam. Now can we get back to work before Minji catches us slacking off?
Fine, boss.
With a mock salute, but her mischievous smirk lingered as she grabbed a cloth and started wiping down the counter. As I walked away, I couldn't help but smile to myself. Sam was relentless, but her teasing only reminded me how much she cared. Even if the whole Kier or Kethan thing was absurd, a tiny part of me couldn't help but wonder. I'm not sure. Kethan is just a best friend. We've been buddies since we were kids. And Kier is an idol. There's no way I'll be able to meet him. I let out a quiet sigh, shaking off the lingering thoughts as I slipped back into the rhythm of the night shift. I sweep the floor and now empty the lit-up cafe. It's almost closing time, and I gotta clean the place for tomorrow. With Sam leaving early due to a sudden stomach ache and Minji needing to handle something important, I was left to man the cafe alone. I hate it when places only have one person working. That's rude and dangerous. Don't do that. The evening had been mostly quiet, save for a few late-night regulars who'd already cleared out. Now, as closing time loomed, I focused on cleaning the counter, my thoughts inevitably wandering. Kethan's voice played back in my head, full of laughter and warmth, as if he hadn't missed a beat since we'd last seen each other. It was comforting, but then my mind shifted to the memory of Kier's voice. Smooth, captivating, and strangely familiar in ways I still couldn't explain. A small sigh escaped my lips as I scrubbed at an already spotless spot on the counter. The soft chime of the doorbell snapped me out of my musings, and I glanced up, expecting a straggler. Instead, my heart skipped a beat. Holy... Oh no, a tight, sleeveless turtleneck mixed with super baggy coat, my favorite aesthetic! A towering man stepped into the cafe, dressed head to toe in black. He wore a sleeveless turtleneck with a small cut that exposed just a hint of his chest, paired with black pants, black leather pants, and combat boots. Over it all was a sleek black jacket with bits of midnight blue that practically screamed designer. But what really caught my attention was his hair. It was impossibly long, very light blonde with black tips and roots. There's no fluffin' way. And then he saw me. His handsome face broke into a smile, and his midnight blue eyes seemed to shimmer under the soft cafe lighting, like tiny stars were twinkling in them.
"Excuse me,"
he began, his voice soft and smooth.
"I know you're about to close, but could I place an order? Just for 3 people.
I blinked, momentarily stunned by how familiar his voice sounded. It clicked all too quickly, and my stomach flipped. No way. No way. This couldn't be happening. Of course, I managed to say, trying to keep my voice steady. What can I get for you? You're handling this very professionally, me. He stepped closer to the counter, glancing briefly at his phone before responding.
2 caramel lattes and 1 iced Americano. To go.
I nodded and started punching in the order, but my hands felt shaky. Was it really him? He didn't have any sort of cover on, just out there in the open. My hands fumbled on the screen, tapping the wrong buttons over and over. My heartbeat quickened, and the shaking in my fingers grew worse. I couldn't contain my excitement anymore. It was completely overwhelming me, like my body was just shutting down from the sheer intensity of it all. Without noticing, I felt a soft touch on my hand. Startled, I looked up to see Kier leaning closer, his face just inches from mine. His expression was gentle, but tinged with worry.
"Hey, it's all right. Take your time."
Soft, his voice low and soothing.
"If you're having a bad day, I don't mind waiting for my order."
I could feel myself melting under his concerned gaze, heat rushing to my face. No, I'm fine. It's just that, Before I could embarrass myself further, Kier let out a deep, velvety chuckle.
"A fan?"
he teased, his lips curling into an amused smile. I slumped down in defeat, my shoulders sinking as I gave him a sheepish, apologetic look. Yeah, a huge fan, actually. Sorry if I made things awkward." For a second, his eyes widened in surprise, and I caught the faintest blush creeping onto his cheeks. He glanced away, clearing his throat, but I could still see the flicker of a smile on his lips.
"Hey, it's no issue,"
he muttered. Then, as if he couldn't help himself, I heard him mumble under his breath.
"So, it actually worked."
Wait, what? What? What was that? Come again? I blinked, tilting my head. I'm sorry, did you say something? Kier quickly straightened up, flashing me a grin that was half playful, half mischievous.
"Oh, nothing important,"
he said with a wink.
"I just meant I don't mind having you as a fan."
I felt my cheeks heat up again. But before I could respond, he leaned a little closer. Resting his elbow on the counter and propping his chin in his hand, his midnight blue eyes sparkled with mischief.
"But, you know,"
he continued, his tone turning playful,
"if you're such a huge fan, doesn't that mean I deserve some special treatment? Maybe a smile?"
Okay, now I'm gonna kick you in the knees. You don't tell me to smile.
Or even my order on the house.
Don't push it, pretty face. I still got a childhood friend. I blinked, taken aback by his sudden boldness. Wait, what? He chuckled again, leaning back slightly, but still watching me with that teasing grin.
"Relax, I'm kidding. Mostly. Unless you want to spoil me."
I groaned, trying to cover my burning face with my hands. Kier laughed, the sound rich and warm, and I couldn't help but peek through my fingers. His expression softened, the playfulness still there, but gentler now.
"Hey,"
his voice dropping just a little.
"Thanks for not causing a scene."
Kier said, leaning casually against the counter as I wiped it down. The cafe was quiet now, with just the faint hum of the machines and the soft rustling of the closing routine. His voice was low, calm, but laced with warmth.
I appreciate being treated like everyone else.
I fumbled with the rag in my hand, feeling my heart race at his easy smile. Of course, I stammered, keeping my eyes down on the counter. I mean, you're just a customer, right? He chuckled softly, and the sound sent a flutter through my chest.
Just a customer, huh?
He repeated, tilting his head slightly.
I don't know. Doesn't that feel a little unfair to say about your favorite celebrity?
My cheeks burned. I looked away quickly. You're really not going to let that go, are you?
Nope.
With a grin, his midnight blue eyes sparkled in the soft glow of the cafe lights.
Not every day I meet someone who admits they're a huge fan. Kind of boosts my ego, you know?
I tried to suppress a laugh, but failed, the nervous tension in my chest loosening just a little. Your ego? I feel that's the last thing you need help with. Kier leaned in a little closer over the counter, his grin widening.
Ouch, that hurts, really.
Kier leaned a little closer over the counter, his grin widening.
But if you're so worried about my ego, maybe you could balance it out. Say something nice to me.
I ducked my head, clutching the rag tighter. I don't think that's a good idea, I mumbled.
Why not?
He teased, his tone light but persistent.
Come on, I won't hold it against you. Promise.
I bit my lip, feeling the heat rise in my cheeks before managing. Fine. Your order was pretty normal. I'll give you credit for not being one of those customers. He let out a mock gasp, placing a hand dramatically over his chest.
Normal? That's it? No, Kier, you're so talented, or wow, you're even more handsome in person.
I groaned, though my lips twitched into a small smile. Stop fishing for compliments, I muttered, my voice soft but warm.
Who says I'm fishing?
He countered smoothly, leaning just a bit closer. His smirk tugged at the corners of his mouth.
Maybe I just like hearing it from you.
I froze, my breath hitching as I looked up at him. His gaze was steady, teasing but gentle, and it left me completely unprepared. I stammered, feeling my words slip away. He laughed softly, his voice rich and warm, before pulling back.
Relax,
his tone softening.
I'm just messing with you. It's been a long day, and honestly, this is the most fun I've had in hours.
I busied myself by wiping the same spot on the counter, avoiding his gaze, but feeling the tension in my shoulders ease. Well, glad to know I'm entertaining, I guess, I mumbled shyly. Kier chuckled again, standing upright.
Hey, the place is closing, right? Need help putting the chairs up or something? I'm surprisingly good at manual labor.
Oh, this is the thing we were talking about.
I blinked, looking up at him in surprise. Wait, what? You're serious?
Why not?
With a casual shrug, his smile was so effortlessly charming, it made my heart skip.
You've been working hard. Besides, I figure if I help, maybe you'll like me enough to give me a free drink next time.
I shook my head, finally letting out a small laugh. You're unbelievable. He winked, grabbing a nearby chair and flipping it onto a table with exaggerated flair.
I've been called worse.
Oh.
As we worked, he kept cracking jokes, like when he held up a chair and said,
Do you think this is my good side?
Or when he tried to sweep, but mostly just pushed dust around. You're terrible at this, I said, trying not to laugh as I took the broom from him. He grinned, leaning on the counter.
Hey, I'm trying. Besides, I'm more of a motivational presence than an actual worker.
You mean a distraction? I corrected, smiling despite myself.
Same thing,
He said with a shrug, his grin growing.
but at least I got you to smile.
Cute pop star with really cool blue eyes, or best friend with really pretty golden eyes? Before doing anything else, he took off his jacket and placed it away on a chair. Kier grabbed the chair and flipped it onto the table with effortless ease. I watched him nervously, clutching the rag in my hands as I wiped down the counter for the third time. Yeah, you really don't have to help, you know, I mumbled, glancing at him. He smirked, brushing imaginary dust off his shoulder.
What kind of person would I be if I just stood here while you did all the work? Besides, I'm curious, how do cafes close up? Is there some secret ritual?
I blinked, caught off guard. Not really. We just clean and lock up, I said quietly, my voice trailing off. Kier leaned on the table he just cleaned, tilting his head to look at me.
Well, that's boring. I was hoping for something more dramatic, like chanting over the espresso machine or making sacrifices to the coffee gods.
A nervous giggle escaped me before I could stop it. No sacrifices, just lots of cleaning.
Ah, cleaning.
He grabbed another chair.
The glamorous side of cafe life. Maybe I'll add it to my resume. Professional chair flipper. What do you think?
I think you need to stop being so charming, sir. I bit my lip, trying to stifle a laugh. I think you're not taking this seriously.
Me? Not serious?
He feigned offense, holding the chair like it was a trophy.
I'll have you know I'm very dedicated to my craft. Look at this technique.
I couldn't help but laugh softly, my nerves beginning to fade. You're ridiculous, I muttered, shaking my head.
Ridiculously helpful, you mean?
He quipped, placing the chair on the table with a flourish. He let out a cheeky grin before putting his jacket back on. I started to sweep the floor, my hands steadying as my confidence grew. Kier grabbed a broom from the corner and attempted to join in. His sweeping was less than effective. You're doing that all wrong, I said, the words slipping out before I could think. He looked up at me with wide eyes, his expression mock hurt.
Wow, way to crush a guy's spirit.
No, I didn't mean it like that. I meant you're awful, it's terrible, give me the broom. I stammered, waving my hands in panic. He glanced down at the floor, then back at me with a lopsided grin.
Yes, I'm not cut out for this after all. Maybe I'll stick to being devastatingly handsome instead.
I ducked my head, my face warming. You're impossible.
And yet...
He leaned on the broom like it was a prop.
Here I am, making you smile. Which, by the way, looks very cute on you.
You got me to smile anyway! I froze, my heart skipping a beat, before ducking my head again to hide my growing smile. You're just saying that.
Am I?
His voice was softer now, but still playful.
Or maybe I just like seeing you happy.
I peeked up at him, my nerves easing as his smile turned warm and genuine. Well, thanks, I guess, I said, my tone softer now too.
No problem.
He replied, sweeping badly, before laughing.
So, do I pass the audition? Can I join the team?
I giggled, shaking my head. Not a chance. You're more work than help.
Ouch.
He clutched his chest dramatically.
That's cold. But hey, if putting up with me means I get to see that smile again, I'd say it's worth it.
I rolled my eyes, but couldn't stop the laugh bubbling up. Fine, you're not completely useless. Happy.
Very.
Grinning as he propped the broom up against the wall.
See, I knew I'd win you over.
As we finished closing up, Kier kept cracking jokes, and I found myself laughing more easily with every quip. By the time the cafe was ready to lock up, my nerves were long gone, replaced by a warmth I couldn't quite place. The 3 coffees you got are probably cold by now.
Thanks for the help, I said shyly as we stood by the door.
Any time,
Kier replied, his tone playful but sincere.
Hope we can meet again. And next time, maybe I'll earn that employee discount.
I laughed, shaking my head. Don't push your luck. He winked.
Worth a shot.
Learn how to sweep and then we'll talk. He grabbed the takeout cup and took a sip, his eyes lighting up as he let out a satisfied hum.
Looks like I'll be coming back here often.
His voice warm and teasing. Then, with a cheeky grin, he added,
Coffee's delish, especially when it's made by a cute barista.
My cheeks immediately flared up, and I nearly dropped the rag in my hand.
Hey!
I stammered, my voice squeaking slightly. Kier let out a loud laugh, the sound rich and unrestrained. It was so different from his polished public image that I found myself staring for a moment. He caught my gaze and tilted his head slightly, the grin softening into something more genuine.
Thanks again.
His tone now quieter, sincere.
You really made my day after a pretty stressful one.
Aww.
Before I could respond, he opened the front door and stepped out into the cold evening air. With one last wave, he was gone, leaving me standing there, frozen in place, my heart racing.
Oh, wait, Sam's not gonna believe me. Sam isn't gonna believe me. We should have just snapped a selfie or something.
As soon as the door shut, I let out a strangled squeal, dropping to the floor and covering my mouth with my hands. My legs gave out as the realization hit me.
I just met Kier.
Sam wasn't lying when she said he was nothing like his so-called cold-look moon prince persona. He wasn't distant or intimidating. He was casual, playful, and flirty. I groaned, my cheeks burning all over again at the memory of his teasing grin. How was I supposed to process this? My brain felt like it was short-circuiting. I buried my face in my hands, muffling another scream. Finally, I forced myself to stand, my legs still wobbly as I moved to finish the last few touches before officially closing the shop. The cafe was eerily quiet now, but my thoughts were anything but calm. So many things happened today, I whispered to myself, leaning on the counter for support. My heart still hadn't slowed down. I'm going to burst. As I wiped the last table and turned off the lights, I couldn't help but smile despite my frazzled nerves. Kier's laugh echoed faintly in my mind, and his parting words played over and over again. Looks like he'll be coming back here often. The thought sent another rush of warmth to my cheeks. If this was how the day ended, I wasn't sure I was ready for what tomorrow might bring. That awful feeling is gone now. I don't feel like anyone was following me home. Just 'cause you don't feel it don't mean it's not happening. Kier, POV? Uh-oh. Yeah, what did you mean it worked? Also, hotness! Kier climbed into the black van, carefully balancing the takeout cups in one hand. Min was slumped against the seat, fast asleep, while Oriel followed behind, holding a small bag of takeout.
Sorry for making you wait,
Oriel said, sliding the van door shut. His tone was apologetic, though tinged with his usual calm demeanor.
I had to get takeout, and Min...
Oh. He paused, glancing at the redhead, asleep.
Oh, he's out cold.
Kier chuckled softly, placing the takeout on the folding table attached to the car seat.
It's fine, Hyung. No rush.
He leaned back against his seat with a small smile.
Anyway, I got you guys coffee.
At the mention of coffee, Min stirred, his head lifting groggily. His deep voice broke the quiet.
Is one of them an iced Americano?
Kier raised a cup with a faint grin.
Iced, kind of melted, but it's still cold.
Yeah, how long was he in there? Min extended a hand lazily, still too tired to fully sit up. Oriel reached for the cup instead, carefully passing it to their main dancer. The moment Min took a sip, his entire body seemed to relax, a satisfied sigh escaping his lips.
Finally,
he muttered, his voice still gravelly from sleep. Oriel chuckled at the sight, shaking his head as he slid into his seat.
That dance practice really wiped you out, huh?
Min rested his head against the window, taking another sip of his drink.
That and that crazy woman.
Oh yeah, he's the one who had to deal with the super stalker. His tone sharp with lingering irritation.
She's delusional, thinking I'm her destiny or something.
The van grew quiet for a moment as the weight of the earlier incident settled in. Uriel's calm demeanor faltered slightly, his brows furrowing. He glanced at Kier, who was busy unpacking the takeout.
Right,
Uriel said softly, his voice more serious now.
That whole mess turned the company upside down. Didn't they just overhaul the entire staff because of it?
Kier nodded, his expression neutral, though his movements were slower, more deliberate.
Yeah, security's been on high alert ever since.
Min exhaled, his frustration still palpable.
It's exhausting. Sometimes I think about how much easier things were before all of this.
He gestured vaguely, his hand still gripping the coffee cup. Oriel leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees.
Easier, maybe, but none of this is your fault, Min. You're not the one causing these problems.
Kier glanced up from his seat, his usual playful smirk replaced with something softer.
Yeah, Hyung's right. Don't let one person ruin what we've worked so hard for.
He paused, then added with a grin, trying to lighten the mood.
Besides, you wouldn't survive a day outside this life. You'd be crawling back for an iced Americano by noon.
Min scoffed, though the corner of his lips twitched upward.
Says the guy who can't go 10 minutes without stealing a sip of my drink.
Oriel laughed, the tension in the air easing as he sat back against his seat.
You two really can't go 5 minutes without bickering, can you?
Aw, Kier shrugged, his grin widening.
It's part of the charm.
As the van began to move, the three of them settled into a more comfortable silence. The earlier stress seemed to fade, replaced by the familiar camaraderie that always pulled them through their hardest days. The driver, who had been quietly listening until now, finally chimed in, his voice light and teasing.
Speaking of surviving this life, your manager told me to pass on some news.
All three of them turned to look at him, curiosity piqued. The driver glanced at them through the rearview mirror, a small grin on his face.
Apparently a famous chef reached out. She's inviting you to her restaurant tomorrow night to celebrate your latest release. Said it's on the house, too.
Kier's eyes widened, his grin lighting up his face.
Free food? Wait, seriously? Which chef?
The driver shrugged, trying to play it cool.
Someone big? Nim Anju? But your manager seemed pretty excited about it. Told me to make sure you guys don't have plans.
Oriel leaned back, crossing his arms with a small smile.
Well, that's definitely something to look forward to.
Min raised his cup in mock toast, his grogginess giving way to a faint smirk.
Free food? Guess I'll forgive the universe for today's chaos.
Kier laughed, nudging Min's shoulder lightly.
You're only in it for the food.
And you're not? Min shot back, earning another laugh from Kier. Aw, they all love free food. Oriel shook his head at their banter, his expression softening.
I forgot to check, but have you seen Sunhee's update on the collab?
Oriel snapped his fingers, as if this collab hadn't been something that had plagued his mind the moment it was presented.
Definitely. It's gonna be amazing, I tell you. She's the leader of the
Oopolts?
The Oopolts. For a reason.
Min spoke up, nodding in admiration and awe.
I've heard she's mostly done work on her own. Can you handle seeing your son?
Kier eyed Oriel, a playful smirk on his lips.
Very funny. She's the best there is.
Oriel shook his head, a smile tugging at his lips.
This collab is going to be the collab of the century. The Sunhee isn't going to deter him.
Min declared, rolling his eyes.
All right, don't hound me.
Kier held up a hand in mock surrender, a smirk still etched on his lips.
All right, boys, let's get home first. Tomorrow's going to be interesting.
The van eased into the quiet hum of the road as the three of them fell into comfortable chatter, the earlier tension replaced with anticipation for what the next day might bring.
All right, speaking of Nim Inju, I heard her son is back in the country.
Min and Kier both perked up, exchanging curious glances.
She has a son?
His tone was casual, but there was a spark of interest in his eyes. Oriel nodded, a small smile tugging at his lips.
Yeah, he mostly stays out of the public eye, but you know how the media loves to dig up anything they can.
Min tilted his head thoughtfully. What's his name again? I remember she married a foreigner.
Now I'm curious.
Oriel's grin widened slightly, as if savoring the build-up.
I think it was Kethan. Kethan Nim Katz or something like that.
Oh, that's the name of my friend!
Kier's expression froze, his usual calm demeanor slipping for a second. His jaw tightened, but the other two didn't seem to notice as they kept talking.
So, he's been abroad all this time. Yeah, in the States, studying, I think. Word is he came back about a month ago and has started making appearances here and there. Good for him. With a degree and that kind of family backing, he'll probably land himself a solid career. Being an heir doesn't hurt either.
Kier's fist clenched under the table, his mind racing.
Kethan. He's back.
The name echoed in his head, stirring emotions he thought he'd buried long ago. Anger. Frustration. How could he not see this coming? After years of searching, years of waiting, he took a slow breath, his thoughts darkening. I won't let Kethan take them from me again. The memory of being separated still stung, and he wasn't about to let history repeat itself. Whatever it took, whatever it cost, he wouldn't let anyone stand in his way. A sudden jolt rocked the van, causing Kier to almost spill his coffee. The abrupt motion startled Min and Oriel.
Whoa, careful!
He leaned forward, steadying Kier's cup before it tipped over.
Man, you good? You almost lost that.
Kier forced a smile, his voice calm but clipped.
I'm fine.
Oriel and Min exchanged a glance, but didn't press further, returning to their conversation. Kier leaned back, gripping his cup tightly.
It doesn't matter what it takes.
His gaze hardened as the thought settled deep in his chest, a cold, unrelenting truth.
I'll protect what's mine. No, I'll claim what's mine.
Now, normally I would go back and see if there's any other routes to take, but I don't think it's gonna go any differently from that. If there is something really big that I missed, please do yell at me in the comments. But oh no, this is getting really dramatical, just like the drama I was watching at the beginning of the thing. My best friend suddenly came back, and then the idol that I really, really like is in my town, and oh no, the idol knows my friend, and really wants to be with me, but my friend clearly also wants to be with me. Oh no! If you would like to follow the developer for any more development, there is a link in the description of this very video that you are currently watching right now. And if you would like to see more awesome visual novels with really cool characters in them, feel free to peruse my channel. And don't forget to like, subscribe, or interact in any way that's comfortable for you, as we're trying to make it to 100,000 subscribers. Well, we'll have to wait for more of the story to progress. But in the meantime, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope.